It's Sunday, August 2nd, 2026. Ooh, got an itchy leg. um, and it's 11:30 a.m. And I'm actually just showing a little bit of my garden, although I thought it was a good idea to get an overview of my food that I'm growing inside my studio apartment by any means necessary in the simplest, cheapest way possible. Take in mind, this is mainly about just doing it because, well, it helps me relax than it is about the food. Um, and feeling empowered, finding clever ways of getting things done. But anyway, today we're actually going to be focusing on my potatoes. That's one area of potatoes. And then take in mind, I'm doing this on my phone. I don't have any fancy cut, and I'm going to show you most of the mess without showing you all the mess because I don't want to scare you. But anyway, this is my first batch of potatoes from this year. I'm pretty sure that this is a volunteer that has nothing to do with potatoes. Who knows? I just watered this plant earlier today. I should not be harvesting. Here's the thing though, if I wait for the perfect time to harvest, I'm never gonna harvest. What I mean is that with potatoes, you're supposed to let it dry out for 2 weeks before actually digging them up, although I'm guessing that the rule is different with containers. But I literally just did it this morning, but I've learned the hard way that it's better just to get things done than to worry about getting it done perfectly. I watered that plant, but obviously not enough. So anyway, we're gonna set this here. I know that I'm supposed to be able to cut and do all fancy stuff on my phone, but the fact that I even have a phone and have internet and also have storage on my phone, which I didn't have as of earlier today, is like three small miracles in one. Although there's a couple of other miracles, which I'll show you in a second, which you'll come to understand why it's important to process these potatoes now. But I don't expect anything from these potatoes, especially the other one that has no greenage in it and hasn't in 2 weeks. I'm working my way around to get the potato. But the point is to check it and empty it out because you never know what's in it. Now, I should warn you before you check out these flower pots and notate two things. First of all, at least I grew these in a flower pot. If you look around, you'll notice that that is not the norm. Oh, I guess I accidentally pressed pause. I'm not sure how much of this is the video got, but the point is, as I was saying, I'm still in like damage control. Now I realize that the great drought, as I called it, that I think I forgot to mention in the first video, although you would have seen it with all the dryness in my planters, that it's not so much just of a one-time thing, and that this is usually a stressful part of the year because there's always, quote, paperwork, end quote, issues that manage to drag out for a full year up to the next year, and harassment that gets worse around this time. But anyway, point is that the reason I want to do the beds now, well, I feel like I'm partly inspired to garden because I have to go back to court tomorrow, and it just feels nice to like actually be involved in something where you do it once and it's done, you know? If I get this video to post, if the last video took almost 24 hours, then I can sit down there and get this record of my journey. And there's something about experimenting, having that attitude and being able to document it that just feels really good. Oh, I guess I'm not showing you a really interesting part. But anyway, and the fact that it's done in such a simple matter. This is not the pretty garden that a lot of people have that I really like, and sometimes I even get caught up in the prettyitis, you know, with the tower gardens and everything so organized. And even the people who I know who have more of a lackadaisical style with their bins and stuff, the fact that they could just have these experiments growing and not have it be such a big deal because they have more than enough sunlight, it's just, it could be a bit distracting, but then I remember the coolness of like growing in a studio apartment based off of resourcefulness and the blessing of having a south-facing window and being able to make the best out of the worst situation. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get 4 plants in here. You can see I'm repping Coca-Cola. But yeah, you can see the huge pepper. I'm definitely gonna be drawing that later. But yeah, so I didn't get anything. See, and I like to think that because things don't always go right, because it's not just that there's a learning curve because I'm growing inside the apartment, but the same situation that inspired it is also the same situation that isn't the most cooperative component. That, oh, I forgot my train of thought. Anyway, it's all to my benefit. But anyway, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get these peppers on it, or if it's even a good idea, but at least if I can get, oh crap, 2. Yeah, and I think that's all I can get on it, is the 2. But that's still good. And that'll be like my green pepper section. I already have quite a few growing. This was the one that was outside before. But I'm thinking that I can do that and then put them over there and then have the serrano peppers. Although I think I'm gonna have to break it up a little bit. And then that's another pepper. I don't know where I'm gonna put this. The problem is I live too far away from people who actually plant, and I've tried to give away plants closer by, but I don't know. I think it would be easier to make jewelry and charge them than it would be to give away free plants, at least in this neighborhood. Ooh, and now I'm like knocking stuff over. Oh, just in case you're new to the garden, this is where I'm growing my squash and some onions that I'm regrowing. Shoot, I'm gonna have to make some decisions about this. But yeah, this is kind of chaos. This is part of the issue with having been not feeling well and just overwhelmed. Whatever. But yeah, that's a cherry tomato and a black krill. Okay, this is the black crim, excuse me. So I just have to string that up, but I wanted to do the potatoes first so I could do the sriracha peppers because this is the bell peppers. Now, do I need all these kinds of peppers? No. If I had seen the sriracha first, I would have gotten that, but I didn't. I asked the guy when he got it. He got an attitude and said, we always had it. I did not see it. And I've been studying those little, those stores where they had the carts of the plants. I've been studying them for months. Like, they probably tired of seeing me, so I don't know how I can not have seen them, but oh well. Point is, I have some great peppers, and if I transplant in a hurry, I'll have even more. So with this, I'm gonna actually transplant them. Hold on just a second. Oh crap, okay. I made the mistake of actually digging that up or planting that while I had that out here. Or I had that underneath it, I should say. Not smart, should know better. Okay, I'm running out of space, just a second. Now, the thing is that I'm doing this in the most simplest manner possible with the mess and whatnot. Scatterbrained and everything. Although when I think about the bed that I'm going to put, it does kind of make sense. But the point is that I'm just getting things done. And I keep realizing that as much as I knock myself not doing more, it's kind of hard to do that while I'm surrounded by my art and my garden and things like that. I'm pretty sure that that was some weeds, whatever, don't care. I usually do, but I really just can't care right now. And there's something about getting a small win as far as just getting something done. It just feels oh so good. But yeah, if you knew the anxiety that I had about doing this, it's like ridiculous. Hard to explain, although I'm do find that trying to do so in my journal does help. So, and that stuff like that isn't like a coping technique, it's just life skill. Anyway, that's my hair. My hair keeps falling out, so I heard that it's good potassium, so I just try to use that to in hopes that it's good. It'll be good for the plant. I have no idea. I've never collected enough and actually done it long enough or had a control group or anything so I could actually say. But yeah, there's nothing here. Just used up potatoes, but that's okay. That's another thing I like about this gardening style, is because I mainly chop and drop everything, that is very easy for me to reconcile the deaths, because sometimes it is like the Survivor reality show in here. In fact, I thought of framing everything like that, framing my whole garden from that perspective of it being like the Survivor show, because that's how it feels. Like the stuff I'm planting in now with nasturtiums that didn't do well, ironically enough. Sorry about that. Ironically enough, I gave the nasturtiums prime real estate outside. It did nothing. In fact, this spot over here has been a bad luck spot. This spot right here by the strawberries. The strawberries are doing fine. Oh, in fact, another tree got a strawberry that's growing well, and then one that was growing well. I'm not sure what happened to it. It's this one right here. But yeah. And there was some dead places, but as far as it dealing with the drought, you can see the brown edges of the leaves. But I just mainly chopped and dropped. You can see the browning leaves over there. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure that this was empty of any potato stuff, because I didn't want that to affect any the plant growing. So got that done. So now the next step is to, well, we'll see how much time I have. I think YouTube limits the videos. I don't know if it's because this is on a cell phone or if it's because this is I'm a new account or what have you, but it limits it to like 21 minutes. So, and then there's the storage issues that I have on my phone, which is actually the reason why my phone cut out in the middle of the last video from yesterday. But anyway, so I guess you can see this is a bonus. And this is less of a garden tour, more of me just trying to get stuff done. And realizing the same way that I do things that I've been taught as ghetto is actually the same basic tips that helps to get things done. And getting things done is always good. Now, yeah, you can see that the roots they're healthy and white, but they are going around in a circle. Not really that great. But plant's fine. It's still growing roots. And as you can see, I have a very sloppy style. But the point is to get stuff done. It almost hurts me to hear people talking about how you need to do things. And what I mean by that is there's such thing as talking about best practices and letting people know, okay, just because I do this, you shouldn't do this. And oh, speaking of which, just because I do this, you shouldn't do this. Like, this isn't a tutorial. But the point is that you can grow in less than ideal circumstances. Oh, just so you know, I've been growing food in my garden since, I'd say, May 2019. And it was really just a response to the stress of the situation, but it has helped me find myself. Especially as I realized it doesn't matter whether it's jewelry and me being into the chemistry of the gemstone and its history, or growing plants and just experimenting and seeing what happens. The point is I get to nerd out. But anyway, that's the second plant. Okay, we're going kind of quickly. And another thing that I noticed about taking note of how much time passes, Usually not when I'm gardening like this. It's usually when I'm actually just playing the 15-minute game, getting whatever I can get done in 15 minutes. But it makes me see that things don't take a long time, which just reiterates the trauma that distorted that reality. In fact, I could actually think back to the words and exactly what was said and done that gave me that impression, and say that it wasn't implied. But the point is that while it is traumatic to experience, it's also helpful when it comes to figuring out what the trauma is. Although I think you're either going to be able to talk about your trauma because, you know, you haven't been taught to not, or the trauma's going to get so bad that you can't help but talk about it, or find your way of navigating it. At least that's just my observation. When God made humans, he made some strong-willed beings. But anyway, that's the second one. This is my sriracha, by the way. I don't think that I said that. It's already growing a little bit. But yeah. And it has that little flower there. I kind of was taking pictures earlier, but sriracha, I so love it. I think having it's going to be great. I like bell peppers, but I love sriracha. So, probably butchering the saying. I'm going to just leave that flower there because that's just so pretty. And the flowers from the bell pepper, they smell so sweet. They smell like candy. So much so that I actually posted about it. That's my first community post. I'm having all kinds of firsts in this last week. Oh, speaking of which, thank you to all those people who watched my video. I'm sure that I'm like 5 views at least, but that still means that almost like 20 people watched the video, or at least clicked onto it for some point of time. But whatever. Point is thank you. That seems huge. But okay, we're not going to use that dirt because that dirt is a little bit dry. I actually prepped that other dirt and put it in that container and watered the top of it and then squeezed it a little bit. I mean, I adhere to some stuff, but not others. It's mainly an issue of just getting things done, not so much of trying to be a contrarian just for the sake of being a contrarian. Oh, this is the aloe vera and whatnot. Oh, this is going to be just as dry. Okay, so we might not have time to hydrate this. You know what? I don't really care. This is not like the potatoes. And if you saw how I treated the potatoes, I mean these. I literally threw dry dirt, what I thought wouldn't be dry dirt, but ended up being dry dirt. Even though it came from the bag, but whatever. Oh, that's another mess. But that's not even on these lists, put it that way. But the point is that it was dry as heck. I'm surprised the stuff is growing as well as it did. But other than that, I followed the rules. Yeah, other than the fact that I broke the rules, I followed them. Anyway, and this is my water. Although I actually have, what do I call it? I actually do have a watering thing. Excuse me, I can't think of the word for some reason. It's because I'm thinking about my cat because she's right behind me. This is my miracle cat. Hold on. I want to capture her without capturing too much of the mess. Yeah, my miracle cat. Hi. Ooh. She's part cat, part dog. She wants to go for a walk right now. But I'm going to have to delay her just a minute because I want to get these peppers planted. And I'm right at the 18-minute. Well, I'm almost at 19 minutes. But anyway, so we're going to just plant it directly because that's what works best in a situation. That other stuff is very good to know, especially when it comes to figuring out what went wrong. And this style is going to lead to more stuff dying.